Lesson 5, finding lengths using the cosine law. So what the cosine law states is that when you have a triangle, you can find c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cos c. And then there's 3 different options. So it seems like it's a lot to remember, but it really isn't. All you have to remember is that your first side, so whatever side you start with, your angle matches that side. So if you start with a c squared, your final angle has to be c. You start with a b squared, your final angle has to be b, and they are across from each other. You start with an a squared, your final angle has to be an a. And I wrote c, so nicely done. That's an a capital A. I'm just going to erase that. And then the numbers in the middle, or the letters in the middle, all they are is the other 2 sides. So we have certain instances when we can use the cosine law, and there's 2 specific ones. So if you have a triangle and you know all 3 sides, you can use the cosine law to find any angle. Also, if you know 2 sides and the containing angle on the inside. So the angle has to be between 2 of the sides for you to use the cosine law. That's all you have to remember. So contained angle. I think I have that written down. Underline the word contained. So for the following triangle, we know 2 sides and we know the contained angle. So we know that we can use the cosine law. So when we use the cosine law, we're looking for side BC, which is A. So we want to find A. That's the letter we're going to put first. So A squared. So that means we want b squared plus c squared, so the other 2 sides, minus 2 times the 2 sides, times cos of the angle. We know that angle A is 31 degrees. We know that side B is 17, and side C is 10. So the sides opposite from the letter, remember, are the sides that associate with that angle. So we're going to fill this in. So we have a squared is equal to 17 squared plus 10 squared minus 2 times 17 times 10 cos of our angle, which is 31. Now what we're going to do is we're going to simplify, and then we're going to solve for a. So 17 squared is 289, 100 squared is 100, 10 squared is 100, minus 2 times 17 times 10 is 340, and I'm just going to leave it as cos 31. So I multiplied all of these 2 to simplify, and that's equal to a squared. Now we're going to simplify even further, and I'm going to add these 2 together. So 389 minus 340 cos 31. Now the reason why I'm just leaving it as cos 31 degrees is because there would be decimals, and it's easier to type it into your calculator rather than round and write the decimals. So it's more accurate. So we're going to just finalize everything and type it all in the calculator at once. Now we're going to solve for a. So because it's a square of a, we need to square root both sides. So a is equal to the square root of 389 minus 340 cos 31. Now, depending on your calculator, you can type this into your calculator and simplify the inside. So type 389 minus, now you might have to put brackets. You could put bracket 340 cos 31 bracket, and you should get 97.56 something, it goes on. So you don't have to write this step, but it would be 97.56. It keeps going on. Keep that on your screen, and now you're going to square root that whole answer. So push the square root button, equals, and you should get 9, and rounded to 1 decimal place would be 9. So 9.9 centimeters. And that way you do it the most accurate you can. And you only have to do it on your calculator, so that's a little bit easier. So your final answer is 9.9 centimeters. Okay, example 2. It tells you a triangle, but it doesn't show it to you. So the best thing to do is to just sketch a triangle. So A, B, C, and label it. A, B, C. And remember, it's just a sketch. So in triangle ABC, AC is 32 meters. Angle A is 58 degrees. And side AB is 40 meters. That doesn't really match the drawing. Doesn't matter, you just need to see that you have two sides and a contained angle. Side, side, contained angle. And you want to find the length of BC. So that is the same as A. I guess I should put an A instead of an X. So we want to find A. So we're going to set up our cosine law. So we're looking for the A. We have the other two sides minus 2 times the other sides times the cos of the angle. We know angle A is equal to 58 degrees, side B is equal to 32, side C is equal to 40, and we want to find side A. So A squared is equal to 32 squared plus 40 squared minus 2 times 32 times 40 cos of our angle, which is 58 degrees. I don't have enough room. So we're going to simplify. 32 squared is 1600. 40 squared is 1024. And 2 times 32 times 10 is 2560 cos of 58 degrees. Now we're going to combine these two. So you should get 2624 minus 2560 cos 58. And we're going to square root both sides. So we want A to be equal to the square root of 2624 minus 2560 cos 58. Type this into your calculator. You should write 2624 minus 2560 cos 58. And depending on your calculator, it might be different. Equals, and you should get 1267.40 something, something, something. So you take the square root of that. So push square root button, and you should get 35.6 meters. So that's your final answer for A. For the length of BC or CB is 35.6.